Hello everyone, and welcome to another royal reading. I am still in the throes of my Mercury retrograde madness, so I have decided to keep with the short 5-card readings for the next few days until things calm down a little bit in my world. And also, because it's Mercury retrograde, I am going to revisit the past today. 2 stories that have floated around basically ever since Meghan Markle was introduced to us as Harry's girlfriend and then very swiftly his fiancée. And the first story is that Harry and Meghan wanted an apartment at Windsor Castle. And of course, that's not quite how things worked out for them. They ended up with Frogmore Cottage, not Frogmore House, which I'm sure they would have been delighted with, but Frogmore Cottage, which they definitely weren't delighted with. So I'm going to be reading now, 5-card reading, short reading, looking back, seeing what that was all about, because the story has popped up again now. It has received quite a lot of press in the past few days, and nobody has denied it. So it does seem as if the story was true, as a lot of these old stories that have floated around for the past 5 years or so are turning out to be true. So let's have a look. I'm going to be using the Bosch Tarot for this reading because it's a good ancient looking deck. So castles, Windsor Castle, all of that stuff. We're looking at ancient history as far as the Harkles are concerned, and it's got that kind of distorted imagery which to me seems very appropriate for this very bizarre little tale. I mean, can you imagine marrying into the royal family and demanding apartments at Windsor Castle just because you've married Prince Harry, the Dud Prince II, son the Spare? And yet you think that perhaps you can move into Windsor Castle and one day oust the rightful heir and take the throne for yourself. It does seem as if, allegedly, let's throw that word in, Meghan Markle did seem to think that she could do that. So, Bosch Tarot, what will it tell us about what happened way back when with the Harkles and how the Queen, Her Majesty the Queen, felt about it when the news was broken to her that, by the way, Harry and Meghan want to move in next door to you and hopefully take over the royal family with all their modernising and their popularity contests and all the rest of it that they had. Underlying energy is the Knave of Swords. That is the Page of Swords. And it is that aggressive energy. It is always a... I don't like the Page of Swords. Of all the pages, for me, it's the most challenging one as a reader. It's quite vicious. It's quite ruthless. It's doing a lot of spying and sneaking and snooping around and swift and quite cutting communication. It's harsh communication. It is self-interested, always, the Page of Swords. It's not a pleasant energy. It's that cut and thrust energy. And it's strategic. It's always a very strategic card. It's playing a long game, the Page of Swords, and so this was all a strategizing, and Meghan of course spends, I think, her entire life strategizing. So very appropriate card as the underlying energy of this reading. Let's look at the heart of the matter between the Harkles and the Queen. It's the 6 of Pentacles, and the 6 of Pentacles is about equality, about getting what you feel that you deserve. The Bosch Tarot is very different to the Rider-Waite Tarot. So those of you who are learning Tarot, look away. Don't even try and fathom from the Bosch Tarot what the card actually means. I use my Rider-Waite interpretations on these cards unless I see something in the card that is very specific, that is called to my attention very specifically by universe as I'm doing these readings. But the 6 of Pentacles is about, if you put in the effort, you get the reward. So it is about feeling a sense of entitlement, I would say, that perhaps the idea that Prince William had already got Anne Hall and huge apartments at Kensington Palace, and one day, of course, would inherit the lot. He would get Sandringham, he would get Balmoral, the works, you name it, all for Prince William. So it's a sense of grievance in this card for me with Harry and Meghan, that they felt that they deserved something equally glamorous, equally glorious, equally part of the heritage of the royal family. And probably, excuse me for blocking up, it's very windy again today. When it's windy like this, a lot of dust around. It does bother my throat and my voice, so I'll struggle through it. But, you know, she's probably flown over Windsor Castle many times on her way to and fro from the US to the UK. So coming into land at Heathrow, thought, I know what, that's the place for me. What was their real intentions? What was going on with this request? Who drove it? Was it Harry? Was it Meghan? What were they going on about? We know strategizing involved. We know sense of grievance already. What else do the cards want to tell us about it? 9 of Cups. Wow. This is a wish, a dream come true. This is not a recent idea. I would say this is Meghan. It's screaming to me that this is Meghan, that this is a dream that Meghan has had forever. She seems to have followed the royal family from very young, and I think she's always dreamt of living at Windsor Castle. Buckingham Palace definitely not good enough. We've seen her disporting herself with her childhood friend, her school friend, outside the gates of Buckingham Palace. She who claimed to know nothing about the royal family definitely knew enough about the royal family to plant herself there at the gates of Buckingham Palace years before she actually stormed the barricades and forced her way into the royal family. This was a long-held dream for her. I don't think Prince Harry could care less where he lives. But for Meghan Markle, 9 of Cups, very emotional, something she literally dreamt about on her vision board, and something that she really, really desired. It's quite a greedy and grasping card, the 9 of Cups. It usually has that smug-looking chap with his arms folded with the 9 cups around him, the glutton card, that kind of consuming energy. Anyway, enough about the 9 of Cups. How did the Queen feel when the news was broken to her that Meghan Markle wanted to move into Windsor Castle? The Queen of Cups, she didn't respond negatively. I think she was quite cast back into her own memories and her own life and her own dreams. The Queen of Cups for me always is about reminiscence, looking back, feeling a little bit lost in the past, a little bit dreamy. It is that kind of energy, but it is also, very interestingly for me, I'm being told this very clearly in this reading, something I often forget when I look at the Queen of Cups. It is about self-care. Emotional self-care, looking after yourself, making sure that you prioritize your own needs. The Queen of Cups can be too invested in other people's emotional needs, supporting other people, and not give herself her own support. And lesson to all of you water signs out there who have a lot of that energy tend to do that. I think the Queen thought, I have to actually protect myself from this woman. I have to now do some self-care and say no, put my foot down and say absolutely not. You are not moving into Windsor Castle with me. You can stay far, far away at Kensington Palace, or even better, Frogmore Cottage. Little bit of a joke, I'm sure, that she and Prince Philip cooked up. But let's have a look, the hidden energy in this reading. What was it about Frogmore Cottage? Give them Frogmore Cottage. Oh yes. Very naughty card, this. 4 of Wands in reverse. The 4 of Wands is, when it's in the upright, it is the happy home card. Although you would struggle to see that from this depiction. It is the success, well, it's harvest there that's been gained in this card. But it is about stability, it's about a stable foundation, a good happy home, about celebrations, it's about marriage, about weddings, all of those good and positive things, but it's in the reverse. I do feel that Frogmore Cottage was given to them for various reasons. First of all, the mausoleum, the ghosts of the past, Wallace Simpson and all the rest of them, strolling around the grounds, and never mind the frogs and the swamp and the marshes and everything else. But I think also, apart from it being literally an unhappy place, with ghosts, I've read on that actually, I think quite recently, how Meghan felt about living there. She really hated it. It really spooked her. I do think that the Queen, and probably Prince Philip, because I'm sure he was very involved in this decision way back in 2017, 2018, whenever it was, I think that they thought that the couple were not going to be a couple for long. It is very often the Four of Wands in reverse, a breakup card, a breakup of a marriage, a breakup of a home, having to leave, having to move. I think this was a bit of a nudge in both of those directions, a nudge in the direction of separating the pair, and a nudge in the direction of separating them from the royal family. And I do honestly feel that energy in this card. Very interesting. Definitely there was a strategic maneuver. We have the card of strategic maneuvers as the underlying card, and both playing the game. Meghan really invested in it, very emotional, with the Queen saying, oh no, I'm the queen of this castle. This is where I protect myself, where I look after myself, where I remember the past. She obviously has a lot of memories of family events in her life that are very close to her heart. It's where she feels vulnerable, where she feels emotional, where she most needs to protect herself. And so the outcome I want to know, what did this do for relations between the Harkles and the Queen in particular, the royal family in general, but Harry and Meghan and the Queen? Oh, it was the end. 10 of Swords. It all went downhill from here that early. We had Tiara Gate, of course, what Meghan wants, what Meghan gets, and absolutely not. Came back, the Queen. And the same with Windsor Castle, apartment at Windsor Castle. Oh no, you don't. It wouldn't be appropriate. I'm sure it was said diplomatically, but firmly, absolutely not. You're not getting it. And this was the end of the dream. This card is sitting under the Nine of Cups. Meghan's dream ruined, ended. 10 swords. Normally it's the person lying dead on the ground with the 10 swords in their back, stabbed, betrayed, ruined, broken, rock bottom, and that was it. Absolutely, it was over. It was over before it even started, as far as Meghan was concerned, and the royal family was concerned with Meghan. This was a deal breaker, this request for rooms at Windsor Castle. Very funny. So quite interesting cards here, and definitely they thought that they deserved it, Harry and Meghan. The royal family, on the other hand, the Queen, Prince Philip, no, you don't deserve it, and we'll give you something more to your style in Frogmore Cottage, and see how you handle that. And they didn't handle it, and off they went. Very interesting reading. Thank you for watching, and thank you to the cards for being so entertaining, and to Universe as well. And I'll see you on the next reading.